Hello guys, in today's video, we dive into the shocking incident involving Barron Trump, a MAGA hat, and a demand that left everyone talking. Stay tuned to uncover the full story and the unexpected reactions that followed. When a school's principal confronted Barron Trump regarding his MAGA hat, nobody could have predicted the outcome. His reaction left the entire school in tears and awe-inspiring. On a cool autumn day at Washington Preparatory Academy, an ordinary school assembly was set to turn into an incredible experience on leadership, understanding, and focus. The gymnasium was abuzz with students chatting into their spots on the bleachers. They who walked through the bar, Trump, the tall man, displaying the quiet confidence that has become his signature. The red MAGA hat was perfectly straight on his head in a sharp contrast from his cleanly pressed navy blazer and khakis. He moved in a calm manner, not making himself the center of attention or shying away from the occasional glances directed at him. 17 Barron had transformed into an adult who was able to carry himself with an elegant presence that appeared older than his years. As students settled in their seats, Principal Richardson's eyes widened slightly when he saw the hat. The teacher with 30 years was always proud of himself on maintaining a non-biased setting in his school. As he was able to move through the crowd with carefully paced steps, revealing his internal tension, Barron the Principal Richardson said in a quiet and controlled tone when he approached, "I speak to you." Barron turned to meet the principal's eye with respectful attention. "Of course, sir," the principal walked to a more tranquil place near the wall of the gymnasium. "I think it's ideal to remove the hat before the meeting," he stated, using a gentle tone but firm. "We try to avoid any action that could be considered unpopular or disruptive." A handful of students in the vicinity were beginning to observe the conversation, fading in the background while they watched the conversation unfold. Barron stood still, his calm and never wavering eye with respect. Sir Barron replied with the same tone of calm that he'd learned from watching his father's behavior in difficult situations. "It was significant to me. Would you please allow me to explain the reasons why the Principal Richardson changed his position?" Aware that a greater number of students were watching, he'd hoped for an immediate response or teenage resentment, and not this calm plea for dialogue. "Barron, you're a great person, and I respect your kindness. However, this conversation isn't about describing. It's about ensuring that there is a safe environment where everyone is at ease." I'm sure that Sir Barron responded with his voice that was clear despite its softness. "And that's why I'd like share my thoughts. Perhaps it will assist us all to feel more at ease with our differences." The gym was surprisingly quiet. Hundreds of eyes were focused on the tall man, and their main focus, the tension, was apparent, but it wasn't hostile. It seemed to be ablaze with possibility. Richardson was looking at the surrounding area and then at Barron, and the young man's eyes, he noticed an element that caused him to stop, not anger or defiance, but an underlying desire to transform this moment into something significant after what seemed like an eternity, but was really only seconds. The principal sighed slowly and clearly as he walked towards the podium, located at the front of the gymnasium. "You have 5 minutes." Barron made his way toward the edge of the room, with each step echoing through the quiet gymnasium as he walked to look at his fellow students, administrators, and teachers. No one would have anticipated the events that were about to unfold or how it could transform a routine school gathering into a memorable lecture on respect for one another and the true meaning of leadership. What Barron did next shook the room silent and set off the sequence of events which would garner him more than only a standing ovation, but also the reverence of the entire school community. Barron stood on the podium and the weight of thousands of eyes on him. He took a deep breath. The MAGA cap rested firmly on his head, but his next remarks would prove that this was a moment about more than just a piece clothing. "I want to thank the Principal Richardson for providing me with this chance to address the audience." Barron started his speech with a voice that was strong and steady. I'm sure some of you may be wondering why I'd raise a fuss over an easy request to take off the hat. But sometimes, even the most basic moments offer us the most opportunities to comprehend one another better. He paused, looking around at the faces in front of his eyes. Some expressed doubt, while others showed are curious, and a few smiled enthusiastically to the hat. He continued gently rubbing its brim. This is different for different people. I can understand that. However, to me, it's a symbol of something personal I've learned from my parents which goes beyond the political arena or campaign. A whisper was heard in the crowd. The back. A whisperer said, "Here comes the political speech Barron saw," but didn't even flinch. In fact, he spoke with a smile that this isn't an issue with politics. It's about something we all deal with every day. The ability to be yourself even in the face of discomfort. The determination to be the one to stand up for the values we hold dear while respecting others who view things differently. He took a second breath. His next sentence was carefully selected. When I was younger, people frequently believed that they had all the information about me because of my name. They thought they knew my identity and who I was. Some made fun of me, while others made judgments. However, my parents showed me something important in those years. They showed me that how you react to challenges reflects your character more than the challenges themselves. The gymnasium was to a point where you could barely hear the sound of the ventilator, and the people who had been silent were now focusing their attention on the air. The hat I wear isn't about making anyone feel uncomfortable or advancing any political agenda, but rather an opportunity to recall how my father imparted to me about perseverance and staying true to your convictions and being open to dialogue. It's about the lessons my mother taught me about grace under pressure, as well as the necessity of remaining committed to your beliefs. Richardson stood at the edge of the gymnasium, was leaning forward, a bit and caught up in the surprising Barron's ramblings. This month, in my American class, we were discussing the significance to the First Amendment. Not only freedom of speech, but the more profound significance behind the concept that society is strengthened by allowing different views to coexist, and when we learn to speak respectfully about our differences instead of attempting to silence those who make us uncomfortable. A few teachers exchanged glances, clearly amazed by the way their class discussions resonated with the young man. But this is what I've learned that's more significant. Barron continued to grow stronger. Strength isn't found in wearing a hat or any other form of symbol. It's not about making other people see things that we do. True strength is in the ability to be able to hear those who aren't with us in order to find common ground even when it appears impossible. He paused and reached up to touch the hat. After the principal, Richardson demanded that I remove the hat. He wasn't concerned about censoring his views, but rather about our school's community and creating a place that is welcoming to all. And I'm trying to convey to give a child who is in the front row, he who was and was clearly moved by the sincerity in Barron's voice. I can tell you about the instances when I've been unfairly judged because of the perceptions that people make when they look at the hat or even see my name. But instead, I'd like to talk about the way I was able to handle those instances. My sister Ivana once shared with me something that I will never forget. She told me that in any situation, the person who is at peace is the one who will be able to truly influence Barron's voice, to soften, becoming more personal. Last summer, I attended an youth leadership event that no one could identify me. Initially, I met new friends and who shared ideas and worked on projects together. When they learned my last name, some of the same people suddenly treated me differently. But instead of being angry or defensive, I remembered what my parents taught me. Actions speak more louder than words, and that character is reflected in the way you treat people, particularly when they do not agree with you. He walked over towards the diverse crowd in front of him. Look around this room. There are people from all diverse backgrounds, different perspectives, and diverse experiences. This isn't the case, but it is our strength. Every day, in these halls, I observe students from every walk of life working together, laughing and tackling problems together. That's what makes our school special. Atmosphere been transformed into the collective recognition of a fact that transcended all political divides. Therefore, when the Principal Richardson requested me to take off this hat, I did not view it as a challenge to my beliefs. I took it as to demonstrate that labels and symbols don't define us, but our actions do. Reflect our character in the how we treat one another behaves when we treat each other. Barron stopped. The silence of the gymnasium wasn't tension, but everyone could sense that he was building into something significant. And that's the reason I'd like to offer one final thought before making the decision to take this hat off, that my mother has always